My stepbrother, John Wilson, has dissociative identity disorder. When he caught me sneaking around his bed, he coldly told me to get out. But that night, he turned my doorknob. Kneeling by my mattress, he whimpered for me to punish him. What's that on your neck? I was quietly eating scrambled eggs at breakfast when his icy voice cut through. His gaze locked onto the exposed patch of skin below my ear, brows furrowed. I instinctively covered the reddish mark, immediately realizing how suspicious the gesture looked. John, he ground out, jaw tightening. Explain. Mosquito bite. I sipped orange juice nonchalantly while mentally cursing. I'd specifically told him not to leave marks last night. Since when do mosquitoes leave hickeys? John's skepticism dripped like syrup. He leaned back, panther-like eyes tracking my every twitch. Who was it? I slumped dramatically against the chair, smirk curling. What's this? Suddenly caring again? Want me to tilt my neck for your inspection? Predictably, revulsion flooded his features. Get lost. You'll have proper answers ready when I return from the office. As John reached the foyer, his attention snagged on my bare feet. Put shoes on. You think pneumonia's fun? The frost in his tone should have chilled me. Instead, electricity skittered down my spine. His glare intensified when he caught my hungry stare. The same look he'd worn 6 months prior, discovering his missing boxers in my drawer. If you're this horny, go fuck it out elsewhere. Heat pooled low in my stomach. I remembered too well the sculpted torso hidden beneath his tailored suits. Last night, those same hands guiding mine across his abs. That voice, now hoarse with need against my ear. Baby, kiss me properly. Horny bastard. Sweet beggar. 2 personas. 1 body. I first encountered John's alter ego a week after he discovered my twisted desires. When he'd kicked me out, I promptly moved to a friend's place. Returning that moonless night, I awoke to a shadowy figure clutching a kitchen knife. Here to purge the family stain? I mocked, heart hammering. Baby. The blade handle pressed into my palm as he guided it toward his own throat. Tears glistened. Punish me, please. I scrambled backward. Since when did getting lusted over by your stepbrother warrant a mental breakdown? The wet splat on my wrist shocked me more than the knife. He was crying. The man's voice rasped, trembling like a guilty child wanting to embrace me but holding back. Baby. Fat tears rolled down his cheeks. Why did you leave me? I stared, dumbfounded. John's lips curved upward as he met my shocked gaze. Though tears still clung to his lashes, his smile turned honey-sweet. He knelt cautiously by the bed, crystalline eyes locked on mine. May I join you? For a heartbeat, I suspected this was another of John's elaborate traps, that nodding would make him drag me to some conversion therapy camp. Yet his sculpted features held none of their usual frost, only raw yearning. When I pushed his face aside, he nuzzled my wrist with feverish devotion. Baby, I'm so crazy about you. Every night since. John materialized in my room precisely at 10, lifting his shirt with trembling fingers and breathless pleas. If I endured his daytime contempt, reclaiming power after dark seemed fair. The impending explosion when the stoic heir discovers he's been bedding the stepbrother he publicly denounced? Priceless. Lately, his alternate persona grew bolder. Mid-thrust, he'd pant, you prefer the cold, controlled version, don't you? Despite my no hickeys rule. He'd leave clandestine marks like a terrier claiming territory, all wide-eyed innocence and murmured apologies. John returned that evening reeking of suspicion and bergamot-laced cologne. I lounged defiantly as he confiscated my phone. His tailored suit couldn't hide the tension coiling through him, a panther restraining itself. The cigarette between his fingers trembled imperceptibly while he combed through albums of G-rated sunset pics. Liam. His voice cracked like winter ice. Explain this. My blood froze. There, amidst innocuous memes, glared a damning selfie, John's stubbled jawline hovering above rumpled sheets. The timestamp screamed 2:17 a.m. On your knees. The command whipped through the room. I collapsed before conscious thought, hardwood biting through denim. Your boyfriend? John's knuckles whitened around his belt. Pants. Off. Since when do you care? I sneered, even as adrenaline spiked. Worried I'll enjoy the view? Smoldering fury darkened his eyes to storm cloud gray. My pulse roared as he stepped closer, leather strap hissing free. The rational part of me knew this reeked of jealousy. The reckless part leaned into his space, lips brushing his ear. Careful, John. You know what staring does to me. His breath hitched. The belt clattered forgotten as our reflection warped in his polished Oxfords. Me smirking upward, him trembling with forbidden hunger. Outside, wind howled through maple branches, masking the choked sound he made when my fingers found his zipper. A few months back, I caught sight of garter straps peeking from beneath John's slacks. Overcome with lust, I sneaked into his bed during his absence. Biting the quilt with trembling thighs, I suddenly noticed icy blue eyes watching through the door crack. John stood motionless, throat working, observing for God knows how long. My gaze dropped to check for any physical reaction, but he spun away abruptly. He disappeared for days after witnessing such depravity. Now this hypocrite wanted to undress me? I snorted derisively. Without warning, John twisted my arm and forced me over his knee. What gives you the right? Fuck you, John. Let me go. I cursed and thrashed as he coldly secured my wrists with his belt. The stinging slap across my backside forced a gasp. Last night's activities with my alternate personality had left me sore. John froze at the sight of swelling flesh. His grip turned bruising. No protection. Got carried away. I sneered, still simmering with anger. Baby, the long and used nickname slipped out, laced with anguish. When I tried turning, his restraint became crushing. Stay still. After laying me face down on the couch, John retreated to his study. His returning fingers brought cool ointment, applying it with unexpected tenderness. My nose stung. This cruel man who pushed me away yet showed flashes of compassion, keeping me hopelessly entangled. End it with him, he ordered after dressing me in soft pajamas. All warmth gone. Sure. Unless you volunteer as replacement. My bitter laugh echoed. Jealous? Brother? Liam? I'm your guardian. Then why care who I fuck? Shouldn't this please you? His jaw tightened. I object to you mingling with trash. So clean-cut guys get your approval. I interrupted. Yes. Anyone but me. Bastard. Fine. Recalling last night's frenzy, I leaned back smirking. Find me someone then. This obsession grows tiresome. Alex arrived with puppy dog eyes and sunshine demeanor, John's polar opposite. How thoroughly he wanted to erase my longing. The aspiring artist needed models. I needed a decoy. Perfect match. When John's incessant texts interrupted my exhausted sprawl in the studio, I snapped. Stop bothering me. Having fun. The notifications ceased. Yet outside loomed a familiar Cayenne, hood cold from prolonged waiting. Get in. John's trench-coated figure glowered beneath streetlights. Why are you here? Do you know what time it is? His knuckles whitened on the steering wheel. Planning to stay out all night? Yeah. I was just about to go downstairs to buy a pack of. Before I could finish, John stubbed out his cigarette in the ashtray. Through the lingering haze, his icy gaze swept over me. What exactly were you going to buy? Though fully dressed in his immaculate button-up shirt, the way his eyes raked over me exuded raw sensuality. I swallowed hard, my chest tightening with restless heat. You're blushing, he observed, voice like velvet over gravel. His eyes darkened when they caught me hunched over, desperately trying to hide my physical reaction. Get in the car. Now. I ducked my head and obediently opened the passenger door. That night found me pacing my bedroom for hours, anxiety coiling in my stomach. The moment John pushed through the door, pounced, dragging him onto the mattress. John, I murmured against the hollow of his throat, intoxicated by his cedarwood scent. Wear your suit tonight? I want to see you in that navy Armani with the silver tie. No. His refusal came swift and sharp as always, this version of him still rejecting daylight formalities. Then explain the photo in your gallery. I sat up, staring down at him with practiced detachment. His steel gray eyes darted away as he made vague noises of protest, eventually slinking off to retrieve the requested outfit. When he returned fully suited with rimless glasses perched on his aristocratic nose, my breath caught. The resemblance was uncanny. Happy? John fidgeted with his cufflinks. already reaching to remove the jacket. Keep it on, I commanded, rising to stop him. And don't smile. Just look at me like you did this afternoon. The insistent buzzing of a phone shattered the moment. I nuzzled against John's chest, voice hoarse from exertion. Husband, make it stop. His entire body went rigid. Liam, he breathed, horror dawning in his eyes. Why are you in my bed? Cold reality doused me like ice water. Morning light streamed through the blinds. I'd fallen asleep after pushing his alter ego too far. Again, get your facts straight, I snapped, all sweetness gone as I gestured at the love bites covering my collarbone. You're the one who crawled into mine last night. Before he could speak, I volleyed the lie. It was Alex who came over. Must have been sleepwalking after those whiskeys. The silence thickened like smoke. John lit another cigarette with steady hands, the click of his platinum lighter abnormally loud. My pulse roared as he pulled up Alex's contact. The dial tone echoed like a death knell. The time had come to scout out the perfect spot in advance. In the silent dawn, an elegant violin melody began playing at leisurely intervals, yet to my ears it sounded more horrifying than a death knell. Biting my lip, I prayed desperately for Alex to hang up quickly. But the next instant, a young man's cheerful voice rang out. Liam? I squeezed my eyes shut in despair. Huh? What? Ha ha ha. The laughter continued for ages before abruptly cutting off. When the voice returned, it stumbled awkwardly. Why yeah, last night was me and Alex. Sorry, Liam. We got carried away in the heat of the moment. John's expression darkened as he ended the call. Bless you, Alex. I'll model for you till the day I die. Half my anxiety dissolved instantly. To prevent further questions, I boldly threw off the covers, revealing telltale marks across my skin. Do you have any of these? Of course he didn't. I'd been careful even at peak excitement not to leave evidence on him. When John's gaze landed on the vivid fingerprints spanning my lower back, a vein pulsed violently at his temple. You've barely known him a week. Emboldened by his apparent belief, I shrugged nonchalantly. We're young. We're into each other. What's wrong with exploring a relationship? Who the hell jumps straight into bed in a new relationship? His breathing roughened, storm cloud eyes flashing with barely contained fury. I pushed harder. Can't help the chemistry. You wouldn't deny young lovers intimacy, would you, brother? Besides, I let the word linger. Alex was your recommendation. Did I ever teach you to spread your legs for random men? The raw aggression in his gaze stunned me. I'd never seen this side of John. By the time I recovered, his mask of composure had already reformed. Keep bringing men home and I'll break both your legs. After he slammed the door, I collapsed onto the mattress, pulse racing. So intimidating, so unbearably hot. I wanted him furious, wanted him to. My thighs clenched as I gasped for air. No chance to test this with his alternate persona tonight. The primary persona's week-long business trip began at dawn, his assistants already bombarding him with calls. Perfect timing to cement my blissful romance facade. Like clockwork, I posted noon photoshopped couple shots daily prime viewing time during John's lunch break. By week's end, our digital album boasted amusement park dates, hiking adventures, moonlit strolls, all fabricated during stolen minutes. My phone buzzed with an assistant's message. Liam, did you piss off Mr. Wilson again? I smirked, typing. Why? Has he been scowling at his phone during meals? Actually, his temper's been stable. The typing indicator flickered uncertainly. But he keeps ranting about flying back for a cheating intervention. By the way, is Mr. Wilson married? His wife must be stunning to dare cuckold him. My smile froze. All this performance and only the alternate persona reacted. The primary remained utterly indifferent. Fuming, I video called after midnight better to appease the persona actually threatening to charter a flight. Baby. The screen revealed a face that shifted from radiant joy to theatrical pout within seconds. His chiseled features contorted into comical misery. John sulked for a long while. When I didn't coax him, he finally burst out accusingly. Are you really with that Alex? Yep. I teased deliberately. You promised you'd only love me. His damp lips pursed unhappily. You actually believe what a man says in bed? John's eyes reddened instantly. One more provocation and he'd burst into tears. This vulnerable version contrasted sharply with his usual composed demeanor, creating an intriguing paradox. My irritation evaporated instantly. I began murmuring sweet nothings, lazily drawling Big Brother, John Hubby, across the line. His breathing quickened. Half an hour later, trembling whimpers escaped him, his ears flushing crimson. "You're all ready?" I raised an eyebrow. Who knew Mr. Stoic had such hidden depths? Merely hearing suggestive whispers could unravel him completely. Dark fascination lit my eyes. Delete the call log after hanging up. Okay. MHM. Don't worry. He won't find out. The alternate personality's grin widened like a mistress gleefully wrecking her sugar daddy's life. At the sound of the turning doorknob, I slammed my forehead against the wooden panel. Thud. Footsteps paused in the living room. Within seconds, the closet door flew open, revealing the man's icy, handsome face. "Big Brother?" I feigned panic. "Get out." His voice held its usual frost. But as his gaze swept over me, something feral stirred beneath. "What are you doing?" "Taking photos for my boyfriend." I tugged the bow between my breasts, silver bells chiming. "Pretty, John?" When he remained silent, I turned around with hip shake. "There's a fluffy bunny tail too. Alex says I look adorable in this. Thought I'd shoot a maid series for his birthday." Batting my lashes, I shyly pleaded, "Help me, Big Brother? Maid outfit. Birthday gift." His voice roughened. I nodded. "Kinky." After prolonged silence, a dark chuckle escaped him. "If you won't help, I'll just ask Al." His hand fisted in my hair, hurling me onto the bed. Dazed, I tried rising only to get slammed face first into mattress again. "Wanted my help?" His knee forced my legs apart, obsidian eyes glinting dangerously. "Arch your back." "Done yet, John?" He kept me pinned while adjusting camera settings endlessly. My trembling legs buckled, but he ruthlessly yanked me back into position. "Moved. Do over." Countless retakes later, perhaps taking pity, his sculptor hands finally steadied my waist, thumbs pressing into faint dimples revealed by the arch. "Just shoot already. I'm exhausted." "Exhausted?" His icy reproach cut through. "Seems you've energy to spare whoring around." "Pleasing my boyfriend isn't whoring." I twisted with effortless smirk. "It's foreplay, Big Brother." The stark contrast between my disheveled state and John's impeccable appearance made my cheeks burn. Dressed in a tailored suit without so much as a crease, he maintained his usual aristocratic composure while repeating those two words through clenched teeth. His grip on my waist tightened brutally. Click. The camera captured my trembling tear with cruel clarity. "Liam." John's lips brushed my ear in mockery. "You dare play these games with me?" He shoved me away like contaminated trash, immediately heading for the shower. "Be gone before I finish." Yet instead of leaving, I buried my face in his pillow, inhaling the familiar cedar shampoo scent. The steady rush of water emboldened me to explore his bedroom. My breath caught when I spotted the phone on his bookshelf, the same model I'd gifted him months ago, which I'd assumed he'd discarded. The device powered on despite my expectations. Scrolling through mundane photos and a handful of stiffly posed selfies I'd forced him into, disappointment surged until I discovered the hidden album. My birthday digits unlocked it. The video's progress bar sat at the end. There I lay on charcoal linen sheets, tear-clumped lashes fluttering as I bit the duvet, trembling. Just as my head turned toward the camera, the recording stopped. I knew what came next, him discovering me at his bedroom threshold. Shaking fingers hovered over the replay button when an icy voice cut through the silence. "Satisfied?" John stood dripping in the bathroom doorway, shadow obscuring his expression. "Brother," I whispered, heart hammering. "Do you want me?" His silence fueled my conviction. "You do. You want me." "Delusions," he stated coolly, plucking the phone from my grasp. "If I wanted you, you'd have learned true desire when you drunkenly clung to me at 18. If I wanted you, that day you locked yourself in my room wouldn't have ended with you walking away. If I wanted you," his lashes lowered, veiling darkening eyes before resuming detached composure. "I remain your trusted brother. Nothing more." Moonlight sculpted his tranquil features into marble perfection. I shattered the illusion with a challenge. Prove it. Kiss me. Liam. His chest heaved with restrained fury. Can't do it? I sneered, sliding off the bed. Plenty of men outside this house would. Where are you going? John seemed to have forgotten his earlier words, grabbing my wrist. Since you're unwilling, I'll just go on a date with my boyfriend. I expressionlessly pulled my hand away inch by inch. Oh, right. Pausing mid-stride past him, I grinned. If you're that bored, John, maybe you should get yourself a girlfriend. I stood on the sidewalk, letting the wind whip around me until my turbulent emotions settled. If John insisted on playing the brother role, I'd see how long he could keep up the act. Fueled by frustration, I went to my regular dive bar. When John called, I was grinding in the strobe-lit chaos. I declined the call and leaned back against my cub's sculpted chest. Dare to kiss me? My finger circled his pectorals. Let's go. His eyes burned. He guided me to the dim stairwell, barely letting me steady myself before claiming my mouth. I turned my face slightly, letting his lips land at the corner of my mouth. Slow down. As I hesitated, my peripheral vision caught the stone-faced man in the doorway. Smirking, I wrapped arms around the cub's neck and pressed my lips to his. Before our breaths could mingle, the cub was shoved sideways. You came. I leaned lazily against the wall, smiling. Bar dates now. What exactly were you planning to do if I hadn't shown up? John wiped his hands with a handkerchief, storm gray eyes glacial. Need your brother to buy you condoms? You followed me? The timing was too perfect after his fake phone call. Followed? His mouth curved humorlessly. Since when is a brother disciplining his sibling called stalking? If I hadn't come, whose bed would you be in tonight? His grip on my chin forced eye contact. Answer me. But what right do you have to interrogate me? I feigned confusion. Didn't we agree to be brothers? Since when do brothers police each other's sex lives? He inhaled sharply, struggling for composure. I cut him off first. If I can't touch strangers, how about Alex? John. Alex approached under triple stares. I'm here to pick up baby. Linking arms with him, I chirped. John, I'm off to a hotel with my boyfriend. Mind moving? The path cleared. Yet John stood frozen like a marble statue. You just started dating. His gaze kept darting between us before dropping, as if scorched by our proximity. I aimed for the kill. I'm moving on. We want something real. Watching his lips whiten, I smiled brighter. You'll bless us, right, John? Damn, your brother's terrifying. Thought he'd punch me. I zapped the cub $2,000. Thanks for playing along. For real though, my 8-pack's available for inspection anytime. Ignoring his reply, I nudged Alex slumped beside me. Ordered those art brushes you wanted. Thanks. He stared at the hotel door. You think he left? Or is he standing outside right now? Who knows? Ever since discovering John's feelings, the power dynamic shifted. We could be lovers or brothers, the choice was mine. Let him agonize over crossing that line. It might be cruel, but John had endured brutal elite training since childhood. When I was still crying over scraped knees, the 10-year-old was already studying Morgan financial reports. 5 years my senior, he'd built an ironclad self-control. Until now. After my stepfather's fatal car accident, the predatory distant relatives and corporate vultures piled their burdens onto John's shoulders alone. One misstep would spell utter ruin. Mid-memory, violent pounding shook the hotel door. Baby, open up. Please, baby. The voice trembled with tears. Frowning, I checked my phone. 3 hours remained until midnight, yet his alternate personality had inexplicably surfaced. The moment I unlatched the door, John crushed me against his 6'1" frame, choked sobs shaking his body. Don't be with others. He pressed my palm over his hammering heart, desperation staining his words. That cold bastard isn't me. Please, baby, don't love anyone else. His expression held the fervor of a man ready to rip his own heart out as proof. But why are you here so early? I struggled free, panic rising. Had I accidentally erased his primary personality? I don't know. His dazed whisper cracked. This agony. Then suddenly I was here, swallowing doubts. I cradled his shuddering form. I only love you. The others, they're just to provoke your daytime self. His insecurity manifested in teeth marks blooming across my neck by dawn. Returning home, I relished the vein throbbing in John's forearm as he noticed the bruises. Something wrong? I prodded. Are you using him for distraction? Or do you actually care? His bloodless lips whitened under pressure. Memories of last night's passionate encounter warmed my smile. Of course I care. I'd never let strangers touch me. His fingers twitched. Not loving me anymore? Seems so. After all, I batted lashes. Didn't you say if I got horny, I should fuck it out elsewhere? The silence turned lethal. Bravo, Liam. John prowled behind me. A sharp click sealed our exit. When he turned, his glacial stare froze my blood. Why can't I remember leaving that hotel? Exactly who? His monotone slithered like a serpent. Have you been sleeping with? Baby, don't love others. I only love you. The others are just to provoke your daytime self. My breath hitched. You planted a recorder? His hollow smile answered. This feral version bore no resemblance to the controlled CEO. As I bolted, he effortlessly slung me over his shoulder, marching toward my bedroom. First time was here. Yes? Dropping me onto rumpled sheets. He scrolled through his phone. How touching international video calls. I've been restraining myself all day while studying your little gallery of whores. A leather belt snaked around my wrists, binding them to the headboard. 53-minute call. Discussing what? He leaned in, madness glinting behind wire rim glasses. Did you forget I can restore deleted logs? Speak. Perhaps I'm deranged. The darker his obsession burned, the more I craved to poke the beast. I shrugged, deliberately provoking him. Think whatever you want. Now I have my alternate personality, brother. Whether you like me or not doesn't matter anymore. Doesn't matter. John repeated those words several times, lowering his gaze to stare at me. His intense scrutiny made me uneasy, but I nodded anyway. Yeah, he's more passionate, romantic, and better in bed. Makes better husband material than you. The atmosphere froze. John stared at me with such intensity it became unsettling, then suddenly chuckled. Fine. He grabbed my ankle and dragged me across the bed. Though I knew John would never hurt me, the sight of his bloodshot eyes still frightened me. Let go. Domestic violence is illegal. Release me. You said he's better in bed. Shouldn't we verify that? The raw desire in his eyes stunned me. Oh my. Happiness came too suddenly. The doctor pondered. There's no direct solution. The patient's under tremendous psychological stress. Family should provide more affection. My world collapsed. I hadn't even graduated yet. Already working 2 jobs. One primary personality, one alternate. The reserved versus the passionate. Today John took me hot tubbing. Tomorrow Alex dragged me bungee jumping. The worst was their bedroom competition, barely recovering from one, immediately subjected to the other's attentions. When I complained to John, he'd distract me with puppy eyes. Trying to reason with Alex, he silently played our home video, eyelashes trembling. You said I lacked his skills. Staring at that well-worn recording, I finally understood shooting myself in the foot. Desperate, I dragged John back to the doctor about merging personalities. The doctor just apologized, citing patient stress. The stressed one should be me, not to mention physical exhaustion. That night I threw a tantrum, refusing both. John sat hugging our comforter in dim light, long lashes lowered. Suddenly, 2 teardrops fell. Does baby prefer the other brother now? He forced a smile. It's fine. After all, I'm just his shadow. Unloved ones shouldn't complain. I stared. He'd gnawed the pillowcase to shreds. To prove no favoritism, I spent days with John. When finally overwhelmed, coaxed him to release Alex. Been tired lately. Let's sleep separately tonight. I avoided eye contact. Did he exhaust you? Alex frowned, lifting my shirt to apply ointment. Aftercare completed, he turned away. Go then. I won't stop you. Yet our fingers remained tightly interlocked, his gaze burning. Too sore to continue, I pried my hand free and fled to watch TV, planning to return after he slept. 20 minutes later, bathroom steam swirled as Alex emerged, hair slicked back, black cashmere sweater clinging to his frame. My breath caught at the sudden wave of mature masculinity. He walked past without glancing, leaving the bedroom door ajar. My heart pounded wildly, staring at that deliberate invitation. Blushing to the roots of my hair, I finally followed him inside. After hiding out at Alex's place for a few days to avoid the chaos, I returned home to find John sitting quietly on the couch. The glow from his laptop highlighted his handsome features, glasses perched on the bridge of his nose, every inch the sophisticated elite. Hearing me enter, those captivating frost-kissed eyes flicked my way. Did you enjoy your little adventure? It was the primary personality, the one who wouldn't pester me relentlessly. Relieved, I obediently settled beside him, resting my head against his shoulder. I did. Since you're so happy then, John pushed me down, nuzzling my nose with his in a gesture that utterly failed to conceal his intentions. Want to test the upgraded version of my techniques? John. I gasped in delight when I saw the familiar spark of humor in his eyes. You've merged? MHM. He murmured against my lips. Sorry to keep my baby waiting. Daytime me is a complete idiot. An absolute moron. How could I ever reject baby? Whatever, I'll just use that fool as a pawn. Come nightfall, I wake up with the company already managed and my wife waiting in bed. Best life ever.